everyone, and welcome to another episode of Live Your Best Life Doing What You Love. My goal for this platform is to introduce you to people and ideas that will motivate you to actually execute on your dreams. Today, my guest is a superwoman. She is a mother of three, a movie producer, a speaker, an actress, and an author. Wow. She's out there making it happen. And her superpower is that of a storyteller. She is truly an amazing person. She has a wonderful heart and a giving and a passionate spirit. Please welcome one of my most favorite people, Miss Brianna Cole.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Williams. Thank you for having me.
Yes. I'm so excited. I'm always excited because I actually get the opportunity to interview amazing people.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. So let's get into it.
Okay.
At what age, right, did you discover your passion?
I would have to say I was like 6. And I know it's crazy. It's super crazy. But I was probably about 6 because I started out doing a lot of reading. I've always been an avid reader. And when I was reading at 6 and 7 years old, I used to think, you know what, I could do this. I could tell these stories. I think that would be super awesome. So I started out like writing short stories and drawing pictures, not very good, of, my stories and things like that, and really making my words come to life. So that happened really, really young. And I think since then, I've just continued to try to pour into that and just only get better and better and better. And so when I was in high school, I started a greeting card business because I was really into poetry. And I was like, you know what? I need to make some money off of this because my poetry is kind of good. So I did start a greeting card business. And then when I went out to school at Georgia Southern, I actually majored in writing and linguistics. So again, just really trying to pour into my writing and get better at my craft.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So for sure, this podcast is about living your best life doing what you love.
Mm-hmm.
And so I tell people, in order to do that, you really have to find out what your passion is.
Yeah.
And if you live your life with purpose, following your passion, it makes life easier and more rewarding. So you're truly doing that. So I'm really, really excited about that. So tell me what systems you have in place to allow you to have your cake and eat it too. Because a lot of folks, especially women, we feel like that we can't have a career, be a mom, and do it all.
Mm-hmm.
And I see you doing all of that. I mean, 3 kids, right? You're a producer, you're an author, you're amazing. So tell me what systems you have in place to allow you to have it all.
To have it all. Oh my goodness. Well, I take after you, clearly. So I get it from you. But yeah, I think you said it best. Just we as women, I think I feel motivated when, people tell me that I can't, and people feel like you have to prioritize or you have to, sacrifice so much of yourself because, you're a mother now. And granted, it does require sacrifice, but I think it's all about balance with trying to, work out being a mother and pouring into yourself as well, and still trying to maintain your own sanity with self-care and things like that. So I think it's all about balance. As far as a system, and I rely heavily on my support system. My family are huge, really big in my life, really big supporters, and I lean a lot on them because I really do feel that it takes a village. I've been a single mother for a long time, and then I recently had someone very, very special come into my life, and he has been instrumental in pushing me to go for my goals and do things like that. And he's like, babe, don't worry, I got the kids. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So it really does help, when you have that support system. And even if you don't, there's still different things that you can put in place for you to maintain that balance I was speaking about being organized and prioritizing. Sometimes you will have to sacrifice a little bit of sleep, or in my case, a lot of bit of sleep, so that I can handle what I need to do with my children and their extracurricular activities, and then seeing about the baby. And then I may be working on my book or my movie or doing things late at night, long after the house goes to sleep. And I'm up sometimes to 1, 2 in the morning. And that's when I'm working. Sometimes sometimes you might have to get up earlier. I've done that as well. If I'm trying to meet a deadline, okay, well, I know the house does not get up to maybe 7 o'clock. I'm setting my alarm. You know what? Let me get up at 6 because from 6 to 7, I'll have just a little bit of time that I can go ahead and do things that I need to do before I need to turn on mommy mode. Throughout the day, I work kind of in spurts on my phone a lot. Everything is mobile now, you know, so I actually write stories on my phone because while I'm sitting there or I'm at dinner or the kids are playing at the park or I'm waiting on my son from track practice, I'm in the car and I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to get in a couple of hours, you know, or a couple of minutes of writing a little bit here. You know, that stuff adds up. I think it's all about finding your balance, finding your system of what works best for you. And then just, again, like you said, executing that, really putting it into place. It's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to actually do those things and to start putting those blocks into place so that you can move forward. Even if it's only a little bit, you know, no one's saying you have to leaps and bounds every night, but just a little bit of progress. And I want to get my saying right. Hold on. I've heard this before. What is it? Imperfect progress is better than perfect procrastination. Is that right? Okay. I want to make sure I get it right.
Yes,
I've heard it and I'm like, you know what? That's true. So even just a little bit at a time, that can go miles. So.
I love that. Okay. Nice. Because it can be done truly because you're a living example of that, right? And you look flawless. So I can't imagine that you're not getting your sleep and you're getting up early and you're staying up. I can't imagine because you look flawless.
Thank you.
Just have to say that. So now you are an author. You're the storyteller.
I am.
All right, so let's get into that. So how many books have you written? Let's talk about that first.
Okay.
All right, tell me.
I've written 9 books. I have my 10th book coming out at the end of 2023. So October of 2023. That will be my 10th and probably my final book for a while because I'm just shifting gears to move more into storytelling in a visual medium. So your movies, your TV shows and stuff, I'm really gravitating towards that. So yes, it will be 10 books by the end of this year.
That's crazy. So how long did it take you to write 10 books? Now, is that over like a 5-year span or tell me?
Yeah, so I finished my first book in 2013 and I got it published in 2014. That's when my first book came out. Since then, I've kind of honed in what works for me as far as being able to write my books while juggling everything else. I remember my first book, it took me a year. Now I can write a book in about 3 months.
Wow.
And that's,
wow.
That's about 3 months. And that's really me going through and, making an effort to execute that. I'm not a big outliner. What I do is I like to create like a bullet point of different things that I know needs to happen to move my story forward. Okay, well, if I know Sarah and John, for example, have to get married, well, I know they have to meet. I know they have to have a first date. I know they have to, and I kind of go through that. And then once I have a good little roadmap, I just let the creativity flow. And I take a back seat or I guess a passenger seat and let my characters drive. And the whole time I have my roadmap. Okay, we can go over here for a second, but don't forget, you got to get back over here too, because I need you to meet John at the airport, or whatever. So I just kind of let that flow. And this is, again, just balancing it, and really still having fun.
I love it. So what type of books do you write?
I write fiction. Okay. I have recently moved into the psychological thriller space because that's what I enjoy reading. And, but some of my other books as well, domestic suspense. So unconventional stuff, you'll get something different from me probably than you'll see anywhere else, because I love touching on things that may be taboo and other narratives that people may not feel comfortable enough to broach. I'm the one that let's talk about it. I have a story for that, and then I'll just take it and run with it. And I sleep very well at night when I do sleep because I know that I'm putting out stuff that's near and dear to my heart and things that I want to write. And I think it starts with different things that I want to read. And I'm not seeing it. It's like, okay, well, I'll write it then, so.
I love it. So your last book is a book that's hot. Tell me about that book. And because there's some kudos and
yeah.
don't even tell it all. Tell it all.
Well, Behind Her Lies is my most recent book that came out in October of last year. So very, very recent here. And oh my gosh, it is a psychological thriller. Okay. And that was my very first book kind of in that space. Again, I've dabbled in it a little bit. All of my books have a little bit of a thrill element to it, but this one I just like went head first. And yes, I am very, very excited about that one because it did go viral on TikTok. It's amassed over 1.6 million views. And it hit number 1 with Amazon and Walmart best-selling list. So in thrillers, thank you. So I am, again, that one is very near and dear to me because, let me tell you what it's about first.
Yes.
That one is about this young lady who gets a knock at the door, and she is told that her sister has died. She's told that her sister passed away, and she needs to come down and identify the body at the morgue. When she gets there, so she looks at the body and she realizes, that's not my sister. That's not my sister. But see, everybody is saying, oh, you're in denial. That's her. She's got the ID and she was found in your sister's apartment. And my main character is like, that's not her. Y'all don't understand. That's not her. So she kind of goes on this big murder mystery type of situation, or, starts investigating herself to get to the bottom of it. And she begins to realize that her family and the things that she's known and the secrets or whatever, she could have never imagined. She's like opened up a whole can of worms here trying to figure out what's going on. So yeah, it's intense. It's intense. But yeah, it's near and dear to my heart because I use something that happened to me as kind of a springboard into writing this story. I lost my sister, and I actually took what happened to me and kind of geared it towards my writing and made it more of a healing process, like therapeutic for me. And that's kind of how I got the idea from the story, and I kind of was like, well, what if that wasn't her? What if it was something else? What if, and I just really poured everything into it. And the reviews have talked about how much I explore the healing and grieving process at the same time, because that is completely authentic. That is all true. So I think that's why this book, whether anybody, I didn't expect it to succeed like it did, but whether you loved it or you hated it, I knew it was a story that I needed to tell, for me, for my sister, and it was just important for me and my grieving process. And the fact that people loved it and got it, that's just icing on the cake. So I've actually already been asked to write the script for it. So we're going to see if that one is going to be made into a movie. We will see, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I love that. So let's stay there for a second. So I know you're an advocate for mental health. Talk to me just a little bit about that.
Yeah, I am a huge advocate for mental health because that was something that my sister struggled with, prior to her passing. And that is something that I too have struggled with. I've dealt with postpartum depression. I've dealt with anxiety, and I still grapple with it, at times. And I feel that is something that a lot of people like to minimize because they don't understand. And we as Black women, we're expected to have it all together and be strong all the time. And so even sometimes we begin to self-doubt, I said like, no, I'm okay. I just need some sleep, or I'm okay. I just need to, and sometimes it could be something more. So I definitely push about being, and pouring into yourself, because you can't pour from an empty cup. And sometimes it's okay to be a little selfish and see about yourself so that you can in turn be your best self for yourself and for others. So whatever that looks like for you, a few years ago, I took what was called a keep it together trip. And I had my mom watch my kids, and I said, Mom, I'm going out of town for a few days. Like I had to keep it together. I was at my wit's end, so to speak. So I just literally bought a plane ticket and flew out to LA. Nice. And I went out to LA, and I was in my hotel. I laid out on the beach. I did a lot of writing. I call it like my eat, pray, love type of trip. And that was important to me. I felt like, and that is okay for you to take those instances where, I need to see about myself right now, whatever that looks like, whether that's you going out to take yourself to dinner, whether that is you, getting everybody else out of the house and you staying in the house with a glass of wine or to cry or whatever that looks like for you. I think it's very important that you need to take care of yourself. I'm a huge advocate for therapy. I'm in therapy. And that is okay. Things like that and that is okay. And to realize that sometimes when people, act like that, they have it all together, sometimes those are the ones that you need to check on just to make sure, because we are so used to just go, and I got it. And then when you stop, it's like, you know what, I don't have it. But that's okay that I don't have it. That's okay. I will still be okay, and then doing what you need to do for yourself. So yeah, 100%.
I love it. I can actually relate to that. So last year, I actually moved out of the country. So I moved to Panama and got a condo there. Yeah. And because I needed to take care of me. Yes. It was like, it was shocking to my family, like, did mom just move? But I knew that I just needed to, I don't know, I guess be alone. Yeah. Meet new people, feel the sun on my skin. So I totally can relate to that. And I love traveling, and that's the way I guess, unwind. And I try to travel every quarter to a different place in the world to be able to unwind and do that. And I think it's very important that people, they take time to just get quiet to understand what they need. You know what I'm saying? Because it may just be that you need to get away and read a book, or it may just be that you need to go to dinner by yourself and have a glass of wine, or whatever that is that you need to understand what that is and take care of yourself.
Absolutely. And that's good that you were able to recognize that. And no, 100%. See, me, I'm, you went to Panama, and that's, amazing. Never been. I hear it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Isn't it beautiful? Yes. I hear it's beautiful. But I'm one, similar. I gravitate towards water. Like, you get me by a beach or a lake or any body of water, I feel like at peace, like it's cleansing or something. So yeah, 100%. But once you take time to figure out what it is for yourself, whether that's painting or some other outlet, or whether that's just, like you say, staying still and being quiet, or whether that's pouring into your, spirituality or whatever it is for you, making sure you make time for that. Make time for that, 100%.
Yeah, I love it. So great advice. So what would you tell an individual or individuals that want to write a book? What would you tell them? How would you tell them to get started? Give me some tips.
Oh my goodness, yes. Well, first of all, I would like to encourage anybody that's wanting to write. One thing that when I was in school at Georgia Southern, my marketing teacher mentioned something to me that's always stuck with me. He told me, why do you think the Nike slogan is so successful? Just do it. Because it speaks to you. It's sometimes it's a point where you just stop looking for reasons, or stop making justifications, or stop like, I'll get to it, and just actually doing it. So 100%, if you want to write the book, write the book. If you need to do whatever research you need to do because it's something that is in, outside of your realm of knowledge, because you're writing a book about, a doctor or something else, do your research. There's the internet is so much information out there. So do your research and actually put pen to paper or finger to keyboard and write the book. If you want to outline, whatever, it helps to just get it out there. I know they call those first drafts of books vomit first drafts. And that is vomit. VOMIT. Vomit first drafts. You're just getting it out there. Okay. It's probably not going to be pretty, and that is okay. But it's so much easier to polish and mold like a statue or a piece of clay or something. It's so much easier to mold that and to get it together once you actually have clay on the paper. So vomit, get it out there. Write, free write sometimes. Sometimes it helps just for you to think about a what if scenario. I people watch I love people watching and making up different things about people and what ifs and putting them in particular situations. And I'm like, wonder what that would be. And you just write it. You never know what ideas are birthed from things like that. Whether that's other people, news stories. I get inspiration from just walking down the street sometimes. It is so funny.
And we're in Atlanta, and so I'm telling you, there's some inspiration going on here.
I promise you, turn on the TV. You will plenty of inspiration. So, once you kind of have that idea, and sometimes it's okay if you don't know like how it's gonna happen beginning to end. Plenty of times I've sat down and I don't know how the story's gonna end, but I just know I want to tell that story, and sometimes it's just gonna take a few drafts or a little bit of effort to get it to take shape into what I want. You should see, like, from my first draft to the draft you see on the bookshelf, completely different sometimes, so, and that's fine. So do whatever research you need to do. Set some time aside to write or brainstorm. So whether that's in the morning, during the day, sometime when you have a little bit, even if it's just 10-15 minutes to yourself, to kind of get your thoughts in order and just start it. Sometimes too, you don't know how to start. My weakness is beginnings. Beginnings, I will change the beginning of my story so many times. And finally I said, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen in chapter 1, but I do know what needs to happen. So I'll start with that scene, and I jump around sometimes, and that's cool too, because I know this scene, and this scene needs to happen. So rather than me procrastinating, trying to get that perfect beginning and starting over, I'm going to start with the scene that I know. I know John and Mary, for example, have to have a date where John reveals that he's been having an affair. So, boom, I'm going to write that. Let me write that now. I'm not going to say I'm going to start with that. I can always go back and add and move it around. But that is a scene I know I need for my story. So that's the scene I'm going to write. So yeah, just kind of getting into your routine so you know what works for you. But again, doing what you need to do to kind of move along. And so you're not procrastinating. You're just kind of, making excuses or whatever, because before you know it, months and years go by and you up here looking like, well, I was going to write that story back in 2009, but that didn't happen. So just do it.
I can relate.
Be like Nike. Just do it. Just do it.
I can totally relate, because I have 6 books that I've written, but I just published my first one. Yeah. And to tell you how proud I feel about finishing that. So I know it's a rewarding experience.
Definitely.
So just do it.
Yeah,
so if you guys are sitting on the fence and you're thinking about writing your book, just do it. But that's going to take me to the next question. Okay. I heard through the grapevine that you have a course that's going to be coming out to teach people how to just do it.
Yes, I am working on a course. Yes. I definitely I'm in the Power Circle. Woo woo. Yes, so definitely going to be having some Power Circle courses out specifically about writing, about acting, a lot of the ventures that I touch into that I feel I have a little bit of expertise. Just
a lot of expertise.
Just a teardrop of expertise.
Number one. Hold on, let's go back. We gotta soak that in. You were number 1 on
Walmart and Amazon bestsellers list. But I guess too,
that's amazing, guys.
Let me tell you, one thing that I tell my fiance is that I am the kind of person, because I see where I want to go, and I see some of those other goals that I'm working towards. I'm kind of like, I'm not there yet, but once I get there, then I should, but it's a journey. Yeah, it's going to be a journey. So, and I'm still learning that for myself, and I'm still, again, I'm teaching myself at the same time, and making mistakes, and you don't know how many no's you done got. I've sent out my book to readers and bloggers and magazines, and I'm like, hey, I'll pitch them. Hey, do you want to read this book? Or I have a script. I'm like, hey, producer, would you like to read this movie? That and I've gotten a number of no's, but I've gotten a few yeses also, and that makes it even more rewarding. So I definitely want to touch on that and those different things when it comes to the journey in the Power Circle courses, so that you too can see, not only just my journey, but I do want to kind of drop in some tips and tricks, that things that I wish that I had have known along the way. I think it'll just make it, we're all just trying to win here. We're all just trying to live our best life, doing what we love. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yes. That's what we're doing. So stay there just a little bit. Tell me, like, what is it that you know? Because I want to go somewhere else too. But what is it that you know now that you wish you had known back then that could have, I guess, quantum leaped your experience? Let's stay with as an author.
Okay.
Let's stay there. Mm-hmm. What is it that you know now that had you known back then you could have just 10x?
Well, definitely what I just said about the vomit first drafts. Okay. Like that, I really wish I had have known, because I spent so much time procrastinating because I felt it had to be perfect. And I'm going through with my creative side of my brain and then my editorial side of my brain but it's not perfect. So it's just trash and I would throw it away. I feel like if I had have known that from the very beginning, I could have probably, published years ago, instead of, waiting for that. Also, too, about writing on the go. Like I mentioned, like sometimes, I was like, well, I have to write when I get home later after I finish dinner and help with the homework. And then by then I'm tired, I have something else that I need to do. And it's like, you know what? Let me just write in the car. Like I have some time right now. My son is over here at track practice and then my other son is over here at band practice. I have a good 30 minutes right here in the car. What am I doing besides scrolling social media? Let me write. Let me be productive. Let me do something towards pouring into myself. So also a lot of the marketing aspect of my stuff, I wish I kind of knew to do that on the front end. When I first got signed with my first publisher in 2014, I thought it was like done. Like, okay, my book is published. We good, right? Like it's nothing I need to do. No, it's always going to be something I need to do. Because what I had to learn was that my publisher had 30 other authors under them. So they're going to make money if any 30 of us sell a book. Me, I'm only going to make money if I sell a book. My book. Right. I can't speak for the other 29 authors, but me, if I don't sell a book, I don't make no money. So I realized that my publisher, though they do certain things, at the end of the day, how successful my book was going to be, a lot of it still relied on me and me hitting the pavement and doing research and finding influencers and journalists and things like that so that I can pitch to them and say, hey, you reviewed a book that was similar to my book. Like there's an author that you reviewed and you loved. You may want to give my book a try. I have found so many people who were willing to read it, or even just feature my book because again, it's kind of in their vein. So it required a lot of doing research, and again, that I didn't know. I just kind of got those little nuggets along the way because I was like, you know what? I have to figure out how to get my book into, really leverage social media, really leverage my network and what I do know and outside of my network on trying to get my book in as many hands as possible. So that kind of stuff, I had to kind of teach myself and just kind of watch, attempt, fail sometimes. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try it a different way, so it definitely a lot of grassroots and hitting the pavement. I say like when, when rappers used to sell CDs out the trunk of their car, I get it. That's what it feels like. And I'm like, I got some books in the trunk of my car. Y'all want to read? So, I mean, hey, you do what you got to do. But yeah, things like that, I would definitely, have considered that would have been instrumental in helping me succeed a little bit quicker, earlier on, I would say.
Nice. So have you ever self-published? Because you said something about talking.
Yes, I did.
The pros and the cons of both.
Yeah, I self-published. Okay. I self-published a book once. Now let me explain the difference. I'm traditionally published now, meaning that my book has been picked up by one of the big publishing houses. And they are responsible for getting my cover art, getting my editing, my formatting, and getting the book distributed in stores. And so now it's available in Walmart, Target, Barnes & Noble, everywhere books are sold. They handle all of that. And in exchange, they get a percentage of my royalties because, again, they kind of forked over the money to do all of that on the front end.
Okay.
That's traditional publishing. When you hear like your J.K. Rowling's and your, all your big name authors, they're under the big publishing houses. But the flip side, you can also do what's called self-publishing, which, granted, things like Amazon and other platforms have made it very accessible and very, like you could totally do that, and you could kind of bypass a lot of the things that I've had to deal with. So it's pros and cons to both, for sure. Okay. So when you self-publish, you're responsible for finding your own cover art, editing, formatting, finding and getting the distribution yourself. So if you want to be on Amazon, then you can put it up on Amazon. If you want to be in Barnes & Noble or Walmart, then you're responsible for going out, finding those contacts and trying to see how to get that book into stores. So that's a little bit different. One of the differences is that when you self-publish, you have to fork over all the money yourself, as far as getting your cover art, getting the editing done and doing all of that. That's all coming out of your pocket. Now you keep 100% of the proceeds, which is good. But anything up front, that's all out of your pocket, compared to when you're traditionally published. Again, that's out of their pocket, and then they kind of get reimbursed on the back end when my book makes money. So I did self-publish. Like I started out traditionally published with a very small independent publisher. That was okay. Then I said, let me try self-publishing. So I did self-publish a book, and it did do very, very well. But one thing that I realized is that I did not have as much exposure as I would have liked. Because when I self-published, I was only available on Amazon. I ordered some copies, but it wasn't on bookshelves. I would have had to kind of do a lot of legwork grinding to go to Walmart and Target and all these different places to see. And some bookstores, unfortunately, do not carry self-published books because you have to make shelf space for the traditionally published books, so it just really depends. And again, that would require a lot of research. So for me, though I enjoyed having all of that creative control with self-publishing, which is great, I picked my own cover. It looked and felt exactly like I wanted it to be. Then, and then when I put it up there, to me, kind of tapped out at my network, and it was hard trying to get people to read the book outside of my network or buy-in from journalists and things, because again, I'm competing with the traditionally published authors. Right. I'm competing with the Alex Finley and the Liv Constantine and all the big Stephen King, all the big name authors. That's who I'm competing with. And they're reserving their space and articles for the big traditional publishing. So I felt like, like a really small fish in a really big pond. So I said that I was going to try traditionally publishing my next book, because that would at least give me a lot of exposure, which it has helped tremendously, because I've had people DM me from California or wherever saying, hey, I saw your book in the library over here in LA. And I'm like, get out of here. Because I didn't do that. My publisher did. So that helps, I think, a lot of people find me. So it's helped, I guess, kind of give me a wider net when it comes to my exposure. So again, it's pros and cons to both, because I know a few self-published authors who are making $10,000, $15,000 a month on their self-published books. So I think it just all depends on what you want to do and what you see for your career as an author and where you see for your book. For me, I don't mind paying my publisher a percentage, because that gives me less I need to deal with, and I could just focus on writing and all my other stuff. I don't have to focus so much on, okay, well, let me get my stuff back from the formatting. Okay, let me check this cover designer. Let me check the, I didn't have time to deal with all of that. So again, it's just a matter of a personal choice, I feel, because it's good, and it's pros and cons for both, for sure.
For You're going to go deep into that in your
I am. I sure am.
All right, I love it. So I want to segue a little bit about to you're a movie producer.
Okay.
And then also you're the mother of a young actor, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about that.
Okay, so let's talk about movies. Yeah. So back in 2018, this started for me because I wrote a script for a movie trailer, for a book trailer. I wanted to do a trailer for one of my books. If you don't know, book trailers are a really good marketing tool. So I say, hey, I'll do it. I'll write a script. Had never done any of this before. That's why this was so funny. And I said, let me, kind of find a producer and director and all this stuff to get this trailer shot. And it worked out. It worked out really good. And I started saying that, I kind of like writing scripts. Like, this is fun stuff. And my agent actually asked me, she was like, I'm actually going to turn one of my short stories into a movie. Do you want to write the script with me? And I was like, yeah, yes, I do. So that was back in 2018. So since then, I've done a lot of ghostwriting for authors who want to turn their books into movies. I feel it's like the author dream, to a degree. And so I know a lot of authors who've written all these books, and they're like, we want to turn them into movies. So I do a lot of ghostwriting for that. And then one day I realized, I've been doing a lot of ghostwriting for other authors. Well, I'm gonna write my own movie. Like, why not? So I did. I sat down and I wrote Pseudo.
Okay.
Pseudo.
Represent.
Yes, definitely. And it is a thriller. It's about a man who is tormented with psychological delusions after he suspects his girlfriend.
It's an amazing movie.
Yeah,
I saw it.
You saw it? Yeah, it's really good. It's super good. It's on Tubi, y'all. It's on Tubi. Check it out. Tubi's a free app where you can watch movies. So it is on Tubi. Really, really good. I actually play one of the characters, and that was something that I said I would love to do. And I've gotten that from some of my network as well. It's like, when you don't see the movies out there, or you feel that you're not getting the opportunities that you want, make your own content. And I was like, you know what? Why don't I do that? Why don't I just write a movie that I can be in? Like, I can act in.
Why not? Yeah.
Of course, let's do it. So we did. We filmed it. We had an amazing rap party and movie premiere. My fiance scored the movie, so the soundtrack is amazing. With my in-laws, and it's just so perfect. I just love it. So it's on Tubi, streaming now, and yeah, I said I'm going to start doing more of that for sure. So I have since I've written a TV series and 2 more movies that have all been optioned. Option means a producer is attached, and they are shopping it around to distributing platforms to see, like Netflix and Hulu and Peacock or what have you, to see if they want it, basically. But a producer is interested in it, and so we have people attached who can make this thing come to life. So yeah, it's a really, really big deal. So I'm happy. I have two of my projects currently over in a huge distributing platform that I can't say, NDAs and stuff, but it's over there, and it's doing its thing. So fingers crossed we have some good news there. Yes. So yes, and I am a momager to a child actor. So my son, Sean J, this is so funny. Sean J, yes. He came to me. He used to be in theater, and that was actually my background. I used to be in a lot more theater. So he was Prince Charming in like his school's interpretation of Rapunzel one year. And I asked him, and he was really good. He memorized like all his lines. It was like a big hour-long play, and he was the star. And so I asked him, I was like, I don't think I realized that you like acting like that. Do you want to do that? And he was like, yeah. So let me tell you, I had him. I'm just telling stories. I'm sorry.
And how old is he?
He is 13. He's 13. He was 11 when he first started out. So this is at him at age 11. He may have been 10 actually. I asked him, I was like, okay, well, let me ask you this. I want you to give me a scene right now, improv. Improvisation is like off the top of your head, like no preparation. I said, I want you to improv a scene where you have been just told some very, very sad news. Go. And he just started crying. He started falling to the ground. Apparently in his scene, he made all this up now. Apparently in the scene, a doctor came and told him that his mom was really, really sick. And he was like, is there anything you can do? And like, he was, when I say real tears. I was like, get this boy some headshots right now. I was like, we're gonna do this. So we did. We jumped right into it. We got him some headshots. We took a few acting classes. I got his resume together, and because again, I kind of had a little bit of experience in the industry, I kind of knew how to position him. So we kind of make some moves there. So we got him an agent. He got him a manager in LA. And so he booked, so far, he's booked 4 projects. He was on Woke. He was on Atlanta yes, TV series. He was on, there's a store, what is it called? I Got a Story to Tell, which is streaming on BET Plus. And he is the star in a movie called Treasure Trackers, which was picked up by Warner Brothers. Ooh. So they just finished. We went to Tennessee for a whole month last year to film, and oh my goodness, he had the time of his life. I had the time of my life. Wow. I don't know who was more excited, but he had an amazing time, and oh my gosh, to watch him kind of flourish in his element is amazing, because this young man, you know, I'm proud of all of my children, of course, but Sean J., you're talking about he does about maybe 3 auditions a week. So you're talking about memorizing lines. When he could be playing his video games, he's memorizing lines. He's doing online workshops and classes. And then when he goes to set, things like that, he's able to do all of that. And he just made the track team. And he's maintained all A's, like for the past 4 years. Amazing. And I'm like, this is me. I don't know how you do it. Because it's his passion. He's doing what he loves. He's doing what he loves. And you realize that is a lot. I mean, it's glamorous because, to be an actor, but it's so much work that goes on behind the scenes. And I didn't know if he could handle it. Mm-hmm. He is in it. I'm like, we got an audition. You got to memorize these 5 pages of script, and we're going to tape it in like an hour and a half. He's like, cool, let's do it. And I'm like, let's do it, son. You know, so it's great. It's really great to see him kind of thriving, and he's doing really, really well. So we have a few auditions we have to do tomorrow, actually. He was like, I'm ready when you are, Mom. Let's do it. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. So,
Superwoman. That is so amazing. I love this. All right, so we're going to bring it to a close.
Oh, I'm sorry. We can keep talking all day.
No, I love this. So, what do you want to be known for when we write the last chapter in your book of this life? What is it that you want to be remembered and known for?
I want to be known for making a difference. And I know it sounds cliche, but I really want to be the blueprint for, one of the blueprints, I should say, for Black mothers and single mothers and, those who have lost their sister and dealing with grief and just all the different things that make up who I am. I'm hoping that it's poured into my work and people get to know me through my work. And that's why I think I'm so gung-ho for really trying to write these books and movies and leave, because I'll be long gone, but this stuff lasts forever. And I want people to kind of see that. And then when they see my story and they're like, oh my gosh, she went through that. And oh my gosh, she was doing this while working full time, while doing this. Oh my gosh, that is, if she can do it, I can do it, and kind of have a little bit of that inspiration there, that motivation, because it's no one, at no point did I say any of this was easy. At no point is it easy, but it's so rewarding and so fulfilling. And I really just want to just leave my footprint, like I said, as just even if I just make a difference into one person's life, like that to me it made it all worth it. All of the hours and the, I'm sleepy and, whatever. It's like to have some of my readers, like I told you, with my most recent book, I had a reader reach out to me and she was like, oh my gosh, like you depicted grief so accurately. I felt like you were telling my story, and it was so great to read, because I feel like no one ever gets it. But when you come against somebody who gets it, it's like, it makes it like you're not alone. You know what I mean? Makes it a little bit more relatable. So I really hope people can look back over my work, my story, and realize that, you know what, she made a difference. And that's listen, That's all I want. That's all I want. And have a little fun at the same time, because this is I'm really passionate about what I do. Yeah. And I hope that's obvious too.
It is. You are truly amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. I appreciate it.
Yeah, amazing. So how can people find you? Tell us.
Yes. So I have my website, BriannaCole.com, Brianna 1N.com.
Spell that.
BriannaCole.com. And I promise, I've done it. That's all I can say. If you Google Brianna Cole, a bunch of stuff will come up. Like a bunch of my books and things like that where you can find me will come up. So any one of my books, Behind Her Lives or what have you, you can Google any of that stuff, it comes up. So BriannaCole.com is my website. I'm very, very active on social media. So you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at BColeAuthor.
TikTok too.
Oh, and TikTok definitely. Go on TikTok so y'all can see that 1.6 million video. I'm telling you, it's starting to trend. So on TikTok, I'm Brianna Cole 3. But yeah, just BriannaCole.com. Like I said, I'm very active. I love connecting with other people. I love support. Like that's what fuels me. And I'm like, when I'm having those days, you never know what a kind word can mean to some people. And people don't realize that, especially as creatives, you put your work out there, everybody's not going to like it. So I've gotten some bad reviews, of course. I've gotten some, what was she thinking? But then I get those reviews like, oh my gosh, she did that. And I'm like, yes. That's going to keep me going. Like, that's what I need. Or when my kids look up and they tell me that they're proud of me,
wow.
That's what does it for me. So, yes, I'm all over social media support. Write me or DM me. I comment on my stuff. I do respond. Yes, I do. And, yeah, let's connect. I love it. That's what I need. That's what we need.
All right, guys. You heard it. You heard it from Brianna Cole. You guys, live your best life. Doing what you love. You only have one life. All right, guys? So until next time, stay happy, healthy, and God bless. Ooh, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, my
God. I love you.
Thank you. No, I love you. I thank you so much.
All right, guys.